Shankara says the next mantra is a continuation of this imagery. That which was said before by the imagery of the bow, etc., is being, is being delineated further in the next mantra. That's what he's saying. Okay? Yeah. So, Pranavo dhanusharo hyatma
Pranavo dhanusharo hyatma
Brahmatallakshyamuchyate
Brahmatallakshyamuchyate
Apramatena vedhavyam
Apramatena vedya
Apramatena vedhavyam
Apramatena vedavyam
Sharavattanmayo bhavet.
Sharavattanmayo bhavet.
Yeah, so the both of them, 3 and 4, are the same imagery. So then why is the need for the next mantra? In the first mantra, which is namely 3, we saw that there is a setup of the visualization. So what is the bow, what is the arrow, who is the one deploying it, and how the person who is deploying this Upanishad bow, which is Brahman bow, along with the arrow, which is a mind sharpened by meditation, is the one who is wanting to stop the inner warfare. All this, the whole thing has been set up. Connection lost.
Oh.
Network connectivity is gone.
Oh, here it's fine. Swami.
Okay, it's come back, but then we have to do all this again. Connect my audio. Start my webcam. Okay. Yeah, we are having some issues with the internet. Yeah. So, in fact, lot of them. So, so in the second mantra of this Dhanu and the bow and the arrow series, the second one is the how to operate the imagery. So the first one is the Drishtanta and the other one is what is exemplified and how to operate, how to put this imagery in operation. That is what is talked about, and again the imagery is given. Pranavaha Dhanuhu. So let's not forget what is the bow. First it was talked about as Mahastra and it was talked as born of the Upanishad. What is born of the Upanishad? Pranava. What is Pranava? Om. Another meaning of Pranava is Om. Prakarshena Navaha, that which is ever new. Om. And this Om is the bow. Well, this is very confusing, as I told you. What is the arrow? A mind sharpened by the meditation on Om. Anything I ask, the answer is Om. Okay? Yeah. So, what is the arrow? Om. Yeah. What is the bow? Om. Now, what is the target? Om. And who is the one firing the arrow to the target? Om. Now, this is very confusing. If all is Om, why bother? Well, because there is an inner split. A split which is as though. So each time I consecrate the past and then put it on a pedestal and do archana to it, Yeah. All this cruelty and hurt, namaha. All this pain and sorrow, namaha. All these horrible things that happened to me, namaha. I'm enshrining something that just ain't there, So when that enshrinement is taking place, when the false is being elevated to the level of Satyam, no wonder Satyam gives the slip, you see. There is no room for it, not that it has gone away. There is no room for it to shine because, the wrong one is given a microphone and it is not giving a megaphone rather, and the inner child with the megaphone is a dangerous sight. Yeah. So it will not stop talking. And so therefore, this here, the whole thing is clarified, the Darshtanta, what it exemplifies, and because it is confusing, it's talked about properly. Pranavo Dhanuhu, Sharohi Atma. Atma here means mind. Upadhi Avachinna Chaitanyam. So that consciousness which is as though conditioned by the body-mind complex is called Atma here. So Pranavo Dhanuhu, the bow is what? Om. And Sharohi Atma, the what is it? The arrow is the whole person, the Upadhi. Yes. Previously, what was the arrow? A mind that was sharpened by meditation. And here it is taken one step further. Not just the mind. It's not that the mind you are going to have again gone. That's the problem. Yeah, we need to do this properly. Hang on.
I can reboot it.
No,
Everybody's coming over here. It looks like so many.
Yeah, we are having some internet issues. So I will keep putting it up again if it goes away.
Or they can come to live stream.
Yeah, or you come to live stream, which we hope is working. We don't know.
We think
And
so. It says it is.
and then otherwise you can be here. It is having a few hiccups. Yeah, it doesn't. That's what happens to the jiva when the knowledge is about to come and enter the heart. There's a lot of hiccups and the defense mechanisms are very active. So this is just illustrating what happens in the course of the study. Nothing to worry. Yeah. So Pranavo Dhanu. And here first the Shara was what? A mind sharpened by meditation. And the mind is not, you're not going to have an out of mind experience. The mind is going to touch Brahman. I'm going to sit here. No. Is there a mind without you? No, you means here ahankara. So the whole of you is being deployed. You are the arrow. You have to hit the target. You here means I notion. The mind which recognizes the I as, the mind which recognizes the truth of itself, right now is mired in the notion of the I, which is in turn having, owning up all kinds of things. The I notion is ahankara is a garbage picker. Really. Because it comes and collects everything that should be thrown away. Everything. All notions, all idiotic feelings, all thoughts, all the past, everything. And it collects. And it saves it up, all of it hoards. The ahankara is a hoarder. So here, that ahankara has been shaken off, all it's been dispossessed. And then what? It is put, like a human cannonball. It's put into the Om arrow and deployed to, as it were, hit the target. So it's to show that the whole person is in the pursuit. Not just the, the mind. Okay? Yeah. So the I notion here is the issue. And the I notion is in hot pursuit, not just the mind. Pursuit of what? Om. And then it says, so since that is the case, apramattena vedhavyam, to be pierced. Vedhavyam, that which is to be pierced. What is to be pierced? I told you the answer. After telling all the answer also it's not coming. What is to be pierced? The meaning of the word Om. Om is to be pierced. And what is being pierced? The arrow is being pierced. The arrow is the I notion, which is piercing the Om, which is penetrating the meaning of the word Om and taking it upon itself. So Sharavat, see, the arrow becomes one with the target, does it not?
Yes.
Why it takes so long? Yeah. Arrow becomes one with the target, does it not?
Yes.
Yes, it does. So too the mind and the whole person becomes one with what? Om. When? Right now. Right here. And so, Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet. Tanmayo Bhavet means what? Now, why are you raising your hand? What happened? Why are you raising your hand? must be an accident. Anyway, so Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet. Tanmaya means Tatmaya. Maya here, we saw in other situations it has three meanings. One meaning is a vikara, a modification of Tat. So become a modification of Brahman? No. We are trying to understand Brahman, which is free of all modifications. Then, what is the next meaning? Prachurya. Prachurya means a preponderance. So have mostly Brahman? No. Have all Brahman. Correct? Yeah. So therefore, the third meaning, Swarthe. Swarthe Mayat. Very rarely used, but like in Tanmaya, Chinmaya, that is what it means. It doesn't mean a preponderance of Chit, it means only Chit. Chit in itself. Yeah, voice is breaking as I told you because there are issues with the internet. Go to live stream or just make the best of it here. Everybody is having this problem. It's at our end. We have been having issues with the internet since last weekend and we'll see what's going on. We'll try to do that. Okay? Yeah. So just go to live stream. Somebody type the live stream address. You click on that and go there and listen there. Many people are doing that. So, Apramatena Vedhavyam Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet. Tanmaya means become one with the target, reach the target, become one with the target, just like an arrow. And Apramatta means unerringly. Again, the main thing is the arrow here. What is this? So the main thing is the arrow here. The arrow unerringly goes to the target. The arrow doesn't say, let me go for a walk and then hit the target. No. And neither does the arrow says, I'm going to stop and pick up a few flowers. Actually, I want to take a few people out and then go and hit the target. No. Unerringly it will hit the target. No matter what, it will hit the target. Correct? And so too, you also unerringly, there is no hitting involved here. The hitting is just to show the oneness. So you also become one with Brahman by what? By learning how the arrow operates. Single-minded focus, samadhanam here. You become one with Brahman. How? By seeing everything as Brahman. So no matter what you are one with, you are one with Brahman. Oh, so when I'm robbing a bank, I'm one with Brahman. Bank is Brahman. Both start with B. Brahman. B for bank, B for Brahman. So I'm have drawn the blueprints to dig a tunnel. And I am a karma yogi, So if supposing that armored vehicle has already gone and I just get a few pennies, I will say prasada. And if I get, I'm taking 20 sacks. So if I get 20 sacks of gold and money, prasada. And then if, ring, a big cage comes and falls on me and the police take prasada, I will accept. I'm a karma yogi. And, here I am. I'm just, and I'm looking upon the bank, I'm banking on the bank being non-separate from Brahman. Bankaya namaha means Brahmane namaha. What's the problem here? Huh? Dharma. So earlier that was pointed out. Samskritam, sharpened arrow here, sharpened by dharma, sharpened by samskaras, that is what it is. Not the external accoutrements of civilization, but the inner maturity. A person who is inwardly mature is definitely dharmic. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here, but just go on live stream. I don't think they can even hear me. I'll just have to say that they are still logged on.
I don't know if it's the computer, Swaminiji, or
It's not the computer.
This one is streaming, okay.
Yeah, some things are okay, some things are not. Once you start streaming, I think it's all right.
Okay.
This one is obviously the same thing doesn't apply to this one. So now the can't even look at it. It just flashes.
So,
Yeah. So
make it off.
no, let it be. I'll just not look at it. I'll look somewhere else. You. So,
Yes, Swaminiji.
huh?
Close.
No. They are. Yeah, it is okay now for 2 seconds. Yeah, that's good. So, the Sanskritam. That's why it's not, the two things are not identical. The one shows the preparation, and the one shows the deployment of the arrow. So in the first, the arrow is being made. The arrow is again the antakarna that is sharpened not just by meditation, but by the attitudes, values, all the samskaras. Adi Shankara pointed that out. And then here, what is happening is that Samskrita arrow is being deployed to the target. And so like the arrow which has become one with the target that it hits. Sometimes if it goes and hits a tree, you cannot even take it out. It has just gone and embedded itself in it. So too, may the mind, may the antakarana, may the whole person just, quote unquote, become one with,
Brahman. Oh.
one with Om. Who is the one who is becoming one with Om? Om. And what are the means? Om. So really speaking, if everything is Om and I am Om, then why do I have to do this? Because that Omness has been, eclipsed as though eclipsed by the non-Om. There is nothing non-Om except in the mind. In the mind, when I make a distinction between me and others, us and them, me and them, that's a distinction that's very costly, because that's the distinction between myself and not Om. So what is not Om? Nothing. So this distinction is an artificial distinction, which is the starting point for every spiritual seeker. And so therefore this whole journey is given, a sandwich to pack for the journey is given, how to prepare the mind is given, and how to sharpen it is given. So you pretend to go on this journey that doesn't exist. You pretend to hit the target that is already hit, which is you. You are the biggest hit, really. And you pretend to just, be something, become something that you already are. And you pretend to gain something which it doesn't require any effort to gain. In fact, it is a gain of all that is already gained. But why go through the pretense? Isn't that inauthentic? No. What is inauthentic is what is going on right now. This internal war that is mounting this duality. And that duality is stopped by understanding this. And even in this whole quote-unquote pretense, so to speak, what is one doing? One is just taking this journey. It's kind of an overlay. It's an as-though journey. One is enjoying the journey. One is understanding the thing, because the mind, from the standpoint of the mind, Brahman seems very, very, very far away. And so this is actually trying to get to the place of, basically disarmament of all the weaponry. And so therefore, when that disarmament occurs, all I see is Om. I see everybody as just myself. So the second, mantra is not a repetition. It is taking it further by showing that Brahman is not one more thing in the world, on the firmament that needs to be pursued. So, since this akshara, this Om, is difficult to grasp, it is being told in a different way in this mantra. Adi Shankara says. Let us see what all he says. Let us see what else he says. He says, Pranavaha Omkaraha Dhanuhu. Very simple. So, Pranava is the bow. What is Pranava? He explains Om. Om is the bow. Yatha Ishvasanam Lakshye शरस्य प्रवेशकारणं तथा आत्म शरस्य अक्षरे लक्ष्ये प्रवेशकारणं ओंकारः. Very beautiful, very nice explanation he gives. He says, just as the bow is the cause of the arrow hitting the target, because the arrow cannot hit the target without the bow, correct? Therefore, the Om is the bow that brings about the Antahkarana into the Akshara, into Om. Got it? Yeah. So the Om is the bow is a device. So the Om is a device. It is both, as we saw earlier in 2-3 classes ago. Om is the device. Om is the thing that one depends on, and Om is also the target. Alambana, Pratika, and oneself, Swarupa. And so here, this is what it is. So just like the bow is the cause, because the bow is there, the arrow hits the target. So too the Om becomes the bow, because one depends on the Om, the Antahkarana, the whole inner, instrument, the mind, the Cheta, the Chit, everything depends upon the what? Upon the Omkara to be able to hit what? Om again, to abide in Om, we can say. Okay, so then, what's the next sentence? I lost the thing. Yeah, here. Yeah. So, pranavena hi abhyasya manena samskriyamana tat alambanah apratibandhena akshare avatishthate. So therefore, the samskriyamana means to be purified. By how? Abhyasya, by repetition. Yeah, because the purification of the Antahkarana happens only by repetition. Like I said, you cannot just go once and see what happened. You cannot meditate for 1 second and see if, you have gone into samadhi or not. If you meditate once and then you have experience of samadhi, we all know what kind of samadhi that is. So therefore, one time nothing will happen. So this is a process to show that the Antahkarana has to be slowly purified, and the purification is abhyasya. Abhyasa means repetition. So there is no other way. Can I shortchange the repetition? Is there a shortcut to the repetition? Can I say Om, 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 fast, and then get to the place? So the short answer is no, not Om here. Okay, so so it says that Pranavena, so with Omkara, through Omkara, he means because, Yasmat, Karanat, because, Abhyasya Manena, so by the person who is keeping on, by the mind that is keeping on repeating it, Samskriyamanat, Samskriyamanah. So the person becomes purified, the Antahkarana that is repeating the Om is only going to be purified, and so therefore this repetition becomes what? Om as Alambana. Yeah, Alambana means Om as an aid. Yeah. So this becomes an aid. Let's see what this one says. Yeah, so when purified by repetition, fixing, he says, yeah, same thing. So the Om, fixing means aid. So the Om becomes an aid with the help of which one gains the truth or the meaning of the Om, just as when the sharpened arrow shot from the bow gets fixed to the target. That's the whole idea. So the mind gets fixed onto Om means the mind understands, assimilates the meaning of the word Om. How? Because it is using it as an alambana, it is using it as an aid when to unerringly apratibandhena akshare avatisthate. Avatisthate means he describes as fix. I would like to say it as abide. Avatisthate, stays. A mind or an antahkarana that stays with the meaning of the Om only after that Om has been used as a vehicle for focusing the mind. So the Om is both a vehicle and the truth of one's own nature. The meaning of Om is the truth of one's own nature, and as an aid, the Om is the vehicle. Just like the bow is the vehicle for the arrow, the Om is the vehicle for the mind to hit the target and to abide in the target, which is the truth of oneself as free of all limitation, which is the understanding of the word Om. So, avatisthate, then what? Yatha dhanusha aste iti ishuhu lakshye. So, just like when the bow is thrown, when the bow releases the arrow, it goes and hits the target. So similarly, this will also go and hit the target, which is the meaning of Om. He just is describing it in detail because it can get confusing. Ataha pranavaha dhanuriva dhanuhu. So don't take the bow to be Om. It is an as though bow. Dhanuhu iva dhanuhu. It is an as though bow. Sharaha hi atma upadhi lakshanaha. Pare eva jale suryadiva iha pravishtaha dehe sarva bauddha pratyaya sakshitaya. So what is this Atma? Sharohi Atma, he is explaining. Atma is the upadhi, is the container. What kind of a container? A container that as though carries this consciousness, like even the container of water that carries the sunlight, and the image of the sun in it, as it were. So you keep a pot of water outside, not on a day like this, but on another day, on a sunny day, what will happen? That sun will reflect in the pot of water, right? And so to here, you put, you say, Sharohi Atma. How can you say it is Atma? It is not Atma. Antahkarana is, how can you say Antahkarana? The mind is not Atma. Well, mind is Atma. Atma is not the mind. So what kind of Atma we are talking about? An Atma that is as though conditioned by the Upadhi, called the body-mind complex, here the mind, the Antahkarana, the inner instrument, which has the indecisive faculty, the decisive faculty, the emotive faculty, and the Ahankara that owns all of them. This is the assemblage called Atma here, that Atma which is as though conditioned by the mind and all its friends, this is what is being called as Atma. Why? Because just like it is like a quote-unquote reflected consciousness, as though that consciousness is, as though taken, that sun has as though taken the form of the water in the pot and is being reflected in the pot, so too the mind becomes a receptacle, as it were, for that consciousness to shine. And so he uses that as an example here. And Pravishtaha Dehe, and what is this? So it has entered, the Atma has as though entered the body. And how has it entered the body? Very beautiful. This is what makes Adi Shankara. Sarva Bauddha Pratyaya Sakshitaya. So the Atma has entered Itham Bhute Tritiya. So the Atma has entered the body in the form of the witness of all cognition. That's how you know it is Atma, and it has as though entered the body. How? In the very form as the witness of all cognition. Are you witnessing everything outside? Say yes quickly. Yes. Are you witnessing everything inside, including all the anger, sorrow, fear and the conflict? Yes. So then, Sarva Bauddha, all cognitions. inner, outer cognition, sakshitaya, in the form of the witness of all cognitions, this Atma shines and has as though entered the body. It has entered the body, so to speak, because really there is no words for it, and the next mantra is going to say that. Vacha vimunchata, leave all the words at home. When you talk about this, it's going to say. And so he says it's very beautiful bhashya here. So, sarva Bauddha pratyaya sakshitaya sahasharah iva swatmani eva arpitah akshare brahmani atah brahmata laksham uchyate. So now we know what the arrow is, correct? The arrow is the consciousness that is as though, arrow is Om. What is Om here in this context? It's consciousness as though conditioned by the body, mind, sense complex. Correct? Yeah. And so that consciousness which shines like the sun in a pot of water, that consciousness which is as though conditioned by the body, mind, sense complex is the arrow. And what does it do? Swatmani eva arpitaha. It is committed to itself. Really, one is always self-centered in one way or the other. If you don't know the self, one is self-centered in a very small way. Yeah. And everything that is small is I, and I want to make the I bigger. In that way, one is self-centered, and it's an impossible task because the I cannot be made bigger than it is. Correct? And if the I resides in everything that I don't have, then, namaha, good luck to you. That's all one has to say. Correct? But here, one is self-centered, and in that self-centeredness lies a grain of truth, because the self is the most lovable and the most wonderful thing there is. And so therefore, if one knows the self, then to be self-centered is to be ajnani. Because the self being everything. So one delights in everything as oneself. And so that self-centered is different from this self-centered. And so here, swatmani eva arpitaha. So one is really, committed to oneself. And if you don't know what that self is, then it's a miserable life after life after life after life. Miserable. Only 4 lives? No, I got tired of saying it, that's all. The miserable life. But if one knows, then, there is nothing to pursue. There's nothing to become. So, swatmani eva arpitaha. So, the jnani and ajnani are both swatmani arpitaha. They are both focused on the I. The one doesn't know the meaning of the term I, and the other one does. That's the only difference. So, both are self-centered. One is self-centered, the other is centered on the self. So, swatmani eva arpitaha. So, in the case of the jnani, or the jnani wannabe, whose focus is centered on the self, atma tad lakshyam iti uchyate. So, the self becomes the target of who? This self. So, this quote-unquote self is going to go to that self. And of course, in these kinds of translations, you have the small s and the big S, which is very confusing. Because the best way to understand it is, as Adi Shankara puts it, it's the self that is as though conditioned by the body-mind-sense complex, as opposed to self that is everything, which is unconditioned. So the conditioned self is really looking for the unconditioned self. The conditioned self is looking because it has accepted the conditioning as final. It has not accepted the condition, has not understood the conditioning as a condition. It's accepted the condition as a final thing, as an ultimate truth, and therefore it is looking for where is this, when will I get out of this body, oh Lord? When will I, to put it poetically, how is that, when will I cast off these mortal coils? Oh, and Yama happened to be in the neighborhood because he was picking up somebody nearby. And he said, oh, saves me a, trip. Come on, let's go. What? You inauspicious thing, why are you here? No, you just called. I call all the time because I was in pain. You know? I was in pain. I couldn't find the Bengay. That's why I called. I couldn't find the analgesic. That's why I called. Just doesn't mean you have to come. You inauspicious thing, get away from me. No, but you did call. All right, I need to stay alive till my children get married. Well, you don't have any. That's the whole point. You don't even have a spouse. Forget children. That's the whole point. I need to be alive to see my children grow. This was Savitri. Savitri brought her husband back from Lord Yama. Her husband had a short life and Lord Yama came, And so this story people love in India because it's the power of love. What love can do. So this woman went to Lord Yama and said, you can't take my husband. She followed him. And he said, shake off, go, scam, get lost. You can't follow me here. And she kept on following, And then he said, all right, I'll give you, a boon to get rid of you. While dragging the husband's, whatever, the quote-unquote jiva. Jiva is, with the nose they show in the play very nicely. The children do the play. It's very nice. And so they have, in one version of it, they had one child lie down on the ground and the other one was dragging with a leash, the one dressed as Lord Yama. And with this Savitri, the wife following. And so she says, may I be blessed with wonderful children who do great things and who are long-lived. And he says, Tathastu, so be it. And he says, well, the husband is here. You have to give back the husband in order for me to have children. And then he says, curse is upon you. Anyway, here, take him back. I didn't want him anyway. So Yama coughs up the jiva that he had swallowed. And Savitri and Satyavan live happily, So this is how, even when Yama comes, you don't want. That's why you say, I need to see the face of my children growing up. But you don't even have them. Well, that's the whole point. So, the one who knows, I am the self, doesn't need all these, props, alambana, and all these various ways. But we are talking of the one who doesn't know, the one who is highly insecure. And so therefore, for that person, all this alambana is required and all these ways to, all these ways and means are required. So Swatmani eva. So the one that is centered on the self is what? Is centered on Akshare Brahmani, is centered on Brahman, which is Aksharam in this, in this Upanishad. So Brahma Tad Lakshyam Uchyate. So you're not trying to ward off small things, and you're not focused on the finite, you're focused on the infinite, and that is the difference. When you're focused on the infinite, you can appreciate the finite, but you're not completely waylaid by it. And that's the whole thing. Lakshaha iva manaha samadhi samadhitsubhihi atmabhavena lakshamanatvat. So the target is also Iva, the Atma was Iva, the bow was Iva, the Dhanu was Iva. So this is very clear when the so many Ivas are given, it's the Darshtanta, it is what that is exemplified is given in this mantra. So the arrow is as though arrow, as though bow, and now as though target. Lakshya means target. So what is the Lakshya? The Lakshya is the Brahma. Brahman is the Lakshya. Correct? Why is it called a target? Because in the case of a regular target, it is aimed single-mindedly and with full absorption. That's why it is called a target. in the case of that bullseye, you know, you have a red dot, you are going to aim at the red dot, you don't see anything to this side or that side, you cannot be distracted. And so, samadhitsu means, you know, the one who is desirous of going into samadhi. So, the one who is desirous of focusing the mind is called samadhitsu bhihi. Samadhitsu, like jignasu, desiderative. So, samadhitsu, the one who is desirous of going into samadhi, the desire of being absorbed with oneself in the highest manner possible, in the correct way, then, you know, that's why it is called lakshya, because those who want to concentrate on the truth of oneself are also equally self-absorbed, like the painter, like the musician. You know, in all this there is Bhagavan, really. So the scientist, you know, who gives up food, gives up everything, just focused on seeing whether there is this galaxy or not. You know, now they are seeing all the heartbeat of the galaxies. There are so many things there. Everything is wonderful. One planet they have found with 3 suns. And one season in this planet, it's not very hot, only 1000 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, there are many, planetary wise, there are many things that are much hotter. And so this planet, each season, it also has season. The rainy season lasts for 300 years. Yes, then you are a wet rag if you survive. And then, you know, the next 300 years is autumn. The next 300 years is winter. The next 300 years is summer, spring, like that. So it, you know, 3 lifetimes, each season lasts. So this is what the whole thing is. And so like this, all that they are finding out, you know, they cannot do this unless they are completely given to this. You know, you cannot discover anything, you cannot study anything, you cannot gain knowledge of anything. That whole arpita, that arpita means completely given to it. You know, if the scientist in the NASA and all, if all these people who are writing papers and finding out these things, if they were just given to, you know, going somewhere and, you know, having some other pursuits and worrying about this and that, then they could not do this. Same thing, you know, Mozart was humming even in his sleep and snoring symphonies. And if anyone could snore a symphony, it would have been him, you know. And really, because the sleep is such a leveler that snoring always happens without Shruti. But if anybody could have snored up a symphony, it would have been him. Eating, sleeping, drinking, anything you want to gain, you have to do that wholeheartedly. Even the person in love, you know, you don't get the person you love just by, you know, an occasional phone call and, you know, and an occasional letter. You have to be completely into them. You have to pursue them. You have to, you know, when they look out of the window, you have to be there. And when they look up to the skylight, you have to be there, waving from the top. When they open their computer inbox, you have to be there. When they open their phone, you have to be there. You have to be everywhere. You are ubiquitous. You are everywhere. And you have to pursue whatever you want relentlessly. Then only you get it. It's normal. And any branch of knowledge, you have to pursue it wholeheartedly. You can't just say, you know, let me dabble in the planet here. Oh, astronomy, wonderful, interesting. Now let me pick up something else. It doesn't work. That's why the expression, the Jack who is of all trades. And then what's the next line? Master of none. Because you have your finger in too many pies, you know. Too many pie, bye-bye. That's all it is. Because you have to focus. You know, even you have a small child, until it's able to take care of itself, you have to take care of it. You have to worry about it, you have to think about what is it doing now, where is it out of sight? You cannot say out of sight, out of mind. You know, I am into Brahman. You know, that's, you know, that may be true, but right now you have to see the child as Brahman. That's what you have to do because it is small, defenseless, and it is helpless. So now the thing is here, the premise is whatever you are focused on is Brahman. Then why, if that is the premise, then why should I focus on Brahman? Separately. Do you know that whatever you are focused on is Brahman? No. That's the difference. You don't know. And therefore, that separate focus is very much required and needed. And so here, very beautiful, he says that because the target is not gained without absorption, Om becomes the target. Because the target has to be first seen, identified, and identified as the most desirable thing to hit right now. This is where all my focus is. Everything else just, goes away. That's why it's not a giving up. It is a dropping off of everything else because I'm so focused on this. And so, just like any branch of knowledge is not gained without some focus, without that single-mindedness, so Brahman is also, knowledge of Brahman is also not an exception. Atmatvena lakshamanatvat, because the Om is compared to the target, because just as in the case of a target, it's aimed with a complete absorption by those who want to focus the mind. So that being the case, then the target is what? Brahman. Vedhavyam. Vedhavyam means it should be shot at. It should be, contacted. It should be pierced. Tatra evam satya pramattena bahya vishaya upalabdhi trishna pramada varjitena sarvatah viraktena jitendriyena ekagrachittena vedhavyam brahma lakshyam. So that one word vedhavyam has elicited a paragraph from Adi Shankara, who says this piercing, what does this piercing involve? The piercing involves satya pramattena. Satya pramattena means by those who are completely focused on that, unerring, without mistake. Brahman should be targeted without mistake, like an arrow unerringly hits the target. By who? Everything is in the third case. So, bahya vishaya upalabdhi trishna pramada varjitena. So, what is this unerring hitting of the target? Bahya, external. Vishaya, objects. Trishna, longing. Pramada, mistake. Varjitena, free of. So by the one who is freed of the longing for all kinds of things. The longing for all kinds of external objects is not to be looked upon as giving up the external objects. Rather, the longing drops away because the longing for Brahman is identified as the primary or the only longing. And when that shift has taken place, the other things, look anemic. They have a pallor. Everything has a pallor. Before it was bling bling, everything is glitzy. Everything, all that glitters is shining, and all that glitters must be gold. But when I know gold, then everything else is just old. That's all. When I know gold, the gold jnani is not, even if you bring them some kind of a dazzling bright chain, they know this is not it. They know the gold. Similarly here, Brahman being everything, and a Samskrita mind, a mind that is one with itself, the mind that has been cultivated to ripen in terms of inner maturity, knows what it wants, has Shama, Dhamma, Dharma, everything, and then it knows, it has Viveka to pursue what it wants, and then it has Vairagya, Viraktena, that Vairagya where the other things become, lose their shine and charm because they become pallid. They are like, they have anemia. because the real thing is here. So they become very anemic, they're bland. All the other things become bland. And people who study Vedanta say this. This is their experience, that all the things that used to feel very, like I used to wait. Somebody told me recently, I used to wait to go to this restaurant. Now whether I go or not, it doesn't matter. I used to wait to see the latest movie that came into town, that waltzed into town. I wanted to see it on the first Friday itself. The first show, I had to see it. But now I just say, well, if I see it, it's okay. So this is the difference. Because before, when the person was going to every single new restaurant, every single new movie, the feeling was what? This is new, I have to experience it, and that will make me a new person, because now I'm all old and jaded, faded. That will give me a new pep to get over the next week, because if I do this, then I'll have a good week. That's the feeling. Now the most new thing is what? Pranava. Nava means new. This is the only new thing is you. What's news? What news? That is the news. That is new. So you don't need anything new, because you are the one that is new. So the one who knows that, even if the one is not completely ready to abide in the knowledge, but has the commitment to that, then the other things start losing, the shine. They become insipid and bland, and because my focus is elsewhere. In other words, you outgrow. Maybe when you were small, you were playing with marbles. But now also you may play, but you don't lose your marbles over them. You may have played with dolls, but if the doll is not there, you don't get, you won't say, I can't go to sleep at night without my doll. Although when I first came to this country, I was a little horrified to see that even adults are sleeping with teddy bears. In India, we don't do that. Yeah, teddy bears are for children, Yeah. Maybe 5, 6, maybe, at the most 8, 10. After that, one will not be caught dead with a teddy bear. And here, somebody said, come and see my bedroom. And I said, okay. They were showing me their whole house. And so this is the grown woman, and and the bed is, I said, where do you sleep? It is full of stuffed toys, stuffed toy animals. And, this is from age 12, this is from age 15, all these things she had collected. Then I understood, everybody sleeps with a teddy bear here, and many people do anyway, so that is an accepted practice, it's not a wrong thing. So now that, so if you take the Indian child's example, you grow out of the teddy bear, correct? And so here also you grow out of so many things. And when you grow out of everything, then only Brahman shines. So Bahya Vishaya Trishna Alambana Varjitena. So the one that's constantly depending on all these small things loses the big picture, because one is always focused on the finite. So Varjitena Apramatena. So that is the thing. And then the next one is what? Sarvataha Viraktena. So all round the person who has Vairagya. Vairagya is not just from objects, also from notions. Wanting to prove yourself correct, being defensive, being offensive, unwilling to drop a notion even though it has been found to be incorrect. All this, is Vairagya, okay? Then what? Jitendriyena, the one who has, who has conquered the sense organs, the organs of action. Very important. Meaning, I have a say over the organs of actions. I have a say. It's not that they have a sway over me. I have a say over them. I can choose whether to pursue something or not. That is the whole idea. So, and then finally, ekagra chittena. This is important because you can say, I'm not interested in anything, so therefore I'm going to bed. No, because I have apathy. It is not apathy. Yeah, apathy is also a pathology. So here, it's not that I'm disinterested in everything. Because I'm sad, it is that I'm ekagra manaha. I am only focused on this because I have understood that this alone is true and everything else is just anemic. I have understood that, so I have chosen this over and above all other pursuits because I understand that all other pursuits leave me, jaded and dead end, at a dead end where I have to make a U-turn anyway. So, ekagra chittena vedhavyam. So, it has to be pierced with one who is outgrown all the props of sense organs, sense objects, and all the little props from movies, malls, chocolates, all these things. And, and it has to be hit unerringly, and it has to be hit by someone who has outgrown all this into Vairagya, and the one who has a mastery over their sense organs and their organs of action. Brahma Lakshyam, therefore it is called, that is the target. And then what? And then Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet Tataha Tad Vedhanat Urdhvam. After hitting the target, what should we do? Sharavat, like the arrow that hits the target but doesn't fall and sticks to the target, you also stick to this. Don't go away from Brahman. Be one with it, stick to it. This is what is, talked about. Sharavat tanmayo bhavet. Yatha sharasya lakshya ekatmatvam phalam bhavati. तथा देहादि आत्म प्रत्यय तिरस्कारेण अक्षर एकात्मत्वं फलम् आपादयेत् इति अर्थः. Very nice. So, after hitting, what to do? One becomes one with Brahman. One identifies, the I goes to Brahman. I identifies with Brahman. The ahankara, is one with Brahman, like even the arrow that sticks to the target. And what is the idea? Ityartha means this is the idea. What is that? The success of the arrow consists of becoming one with the target. That's what he says. The arrow is successful when it has hit the target. Correct? And so too the mind and all the upakaranas and all the meditation, etc., they have been said to be successful when, when one has become one with Akshara. That is when the meditation has given fruit. Vairagya, Viveka have borne fruit. When, when phalam bhavati means they have borne fruit. So when have they borne fruit? When they have become one with Akshara, the imperishable I. So the perishable I, the one who thought I have a shelf life, is the perishable I. And the shelf life I understood I have no expiry date. I don't expire. Yeah. I may perspire, but I don't expire. I may, I have respiration, but no expiration. So what expires is the body, what perspires is the body, what, expires is the body-mind, not I. So the I that is as though contained in the body-mind is now walked over to Brahman, which is the target, and has stuck itself there like the arrow. Even if you pull it out, it has an abiding presence. It's not going to come out. You just leave it there. So like that it is successful. And then he adds one more. So that is the fructification of this meditation and this visualization. And then it says, dehadi atma pratyaya tiraskarena akshara ekatmatvam phalam apadaya iti arthaha. So the, what is that? The losing the dehatma buddhi. Buddhi here is pratyaya. The cognition that I am the body is tiraskarena. Tiraskara doesn't mean losing. Tiraskara means negating. Yeah. Negating, discrediting rather. Discrediting. Tiraskara, to discredit. to discredit this rampant identification with the body mind sense complex. Repeatedly and rampant identification, repeatedly it is discredited. And then what? Akshara ekatmatvam, and owning up the I-ness that pervades, Om. The I that is pervaded by Om, nay, it is indeed Om. The I that is signified, indicated by the word Om. So I embrace the I, which is the target, after discrediting the body-mind connection as I. So the I is walked over from identifying with the body-mind all the way over to the target, which is Om, which it was never separate from. So it shows everything is Iva, 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 as though. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om
Shanti
Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. When is the next class?
4 o'clock this afternoon. Swami.
No. Next class for Mundakopanishad.
Oh, sorry.
Next Saturday.
No.
It's in